I'm Selena, and welcome to Home Cooked Goodies, where I teach you that baking and cooking are so easy, a kid could do it. This series is all about leavening agents. If you want to know more, stay tuned, because class is in session. So there are 3 different types of leavening agents. There's biological, which means yeast. There's physical, which is like steam and air. And there's chemical, which is like baking powder and baking soda. But today, we're gonna focus on biological bread making. We're gonna make brioche bread. This is my all-time favorite type of bread because it's so buttery, it's so soft, it's so delicious, and I'm currently really into French toast right now, which is really highlights brioche bread. So we're gonna do that today. A half cup of milk. We're gonna heat this up until it becomes just warm enough. We really want the milk to be warm because we're gonna add yeast to it. And the yeast really likes a nice warm environment. So we want it to be warm. So how I like to check to see if it's warm enough, I just take a spoon and maybe just put it right on my wrist to just feel how warm it is. And it's warm but not hot. That's what you want. You want it to be warm but not hot. If it's too hot, you'll kill your yeast and then the whole thing is ruined. Milk, we are going to add about 5 tablespoons or about a 1/3 cup of butter to your milk. And we're gonna mix that up a little bit. It might melt in there and that's completely fine. After we add our butter, we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of white sugar. And what this does, it feeds our yeast. Yeast not only likes a warm environment, but they love to eat sugar. And when they eat the sugar, it starts to bubble up, which is exactly what we want for our bread. Once we've added the sugar and mixed that up until it's nice and combined, we're gonna add our yeast. I'm using active dry. Let's go ahead and put that in. And we're gonna give it a good mix. Now we're gonna set this aside in a dark, warm spot, and we're gonna see a bunch of bubbles form up. That's when we know it's ready. So now in a separate bowl, in your mixing bowl preferably, we're going to add 2.5 cups of bread flour. Because we're making a bread, I always say use a bread flour. You can substitute it for all-purpose flour. It's just bread flour gives a much chewier, softer texture. Typically what you find in bread. Now we're gonna add a pinch of salt. I always go for a big, healthy pinch, maybe even 2. After we add that, we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of sugar. Now, the yeast is currently eating its nice warm mixture to activate it, but it's gonna need more sugar to eat in our bread. Now we're gonna give this a nice mix. Now we're gonna put this to the side until our mixture is ready to go ahead and pour straight in here. I'll be using a stand mixer, so you wanna make sure that you're using the dough attachment. You can mix this by hand. I don't recommend it because it's very tiring. It'll be so much easier if you use a stand mixer. So we waited for it to bubble up and take a look at that. Now we know it's ready. So we're gonna add 2 whole eggs to this, whisk it up, and then we can add it to our dry mixture. Now for a little added flavor, we're gonna add a big splash of vanilla. Now let's add our wet mixture to our dry mixture. Smells good already. I'm gonna put this on our stand mixer and use the bread attachment, the dough attachment, and that's gonna mix it until it's nice and well and combined. When it forms a nice stretchy dough, we're gonna slowly add about 5 tablespoons of butter. And what that basically does is it allows it to really combine and get nice, pillowy, soft texture dough. That's what makes brioche, brioche. All right, I just took it off of the mixer and this is what we have. So you can see it's still a bit sticky, but not sticky enough to where it sticks to my finger. We're going to let all the yeast do the same thing it did in the beginning. So you remember it was eating all that sugar and then formed bubbles when we were letting it kind of activate when we put it in the milk solution. Now that it's all mixed together, we're gonna let it do the same thing, and this dough is going to double in size. So a little hack I like to use is I like to use a shower cap to put right on top of my bowl, and it's perfect because it covers it without letting it get exposed to air, or if you put like a damp cloth on it, sometimes you can get it too wet. This covers it just like plastic wrap, but it's perfect because it can go straight to your bowl. Yeah, and it's black, so it's a nice dark area. You can also put this in an oven that's turned off, and that kind of keeps it dark and keeps it warm enough, the right temperature for the yeast to really do its thing. All right, it's been rising for about 2 hours, and so now we're going to take it up and take a look at that. Doubled in size. And punch all the air out. Clean, flat surface. So I like to just fold it over a couple of times just to really make sure there's gluten activated. I'm gonna cut it in smaller rolls because I like for it to have little layers. You really could just roll this up into one long kind of oval, and you can place this in a loaf pan and let it rise again, and that's going to be our proofing. What I like to do is cut it in sections, roll it up, that way it kind of has a little bit of layers to it. All right, once you divide them off into sections and roll them up, you can place them in your loaf pan just like this. Now we're going to let it proof. And what that means is it's going to rise for a second time. This allows all of the flavors to combine, all the gluten to form, and it gives yeast the chance to fully rise to its full potential. And then we bake it. Take a look at our brioche bread. That yeast did a great job. So now I'm gonna top it. I'm gonna brush on some nice melted butter. I like to do